Tonight on Sports Path, we have a great show for you. First, we take you over to Mahtomedi High School, where the Zephyr boys basketball team took on the Titans from Tartan in a high-stakes Metro East matchup that featured two of the conference's best players. Then we go to North High for a sport we don't cover all that often, wrestling. North High School star wrestler Louis Varland recently etched his name in the Polar record books.
It means a lot. I mean, ever since 7th grade, I had it in mind, and my dad's always been in my corner telling me, like, the school record's right there.
Should be an awesome show. Stay tuned because Sports Path is on right now.
Ground ball, finds the hole up the middle.
Steps up, goes deep left side, receiver open, counting, touchdown Titans! Takes a nice shot outside the goal box and he will break the 0-0 tie. Fantastic shot by Kenlock Solon.
Giller makes a move, a good one, opportunity here, and the Bears score! The Bears strike first.
He's at the 40. He's down to the 30, the 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Jalen Ryan. Why not? What a beautiful run.
Maureen there, fights her off the puck. Opportunity here, another sit, and a goal! Second chance effort for the Pioneers.
Put the icing on the cake, if you will, Mike. Let it go down and got to the outside and said good evening and good night.
Hello and good evening out there. Welcome to Sports Path. I am your host, Sam Erickson. I'll be flying solo at the sports desk here for a while. It's been an exciting 2 weeks since we've last been here. The Hill Murray girls hockey team is already well on their way to winning their third state title. The boys hockey season is wrapping up with the last few games hitting the scorebooks, and the girls and boys basketball season still have a few weeks left and a lot to settle before they head into section play. Before we get too far into our broadcast, we want to start off the show tonight, as we always like to, with our trivia question. Now, last week we asked you, in the Minnesota State High School League boys basketball record book, who has the highest career free throw percentage? Now, no one guessed the correct answer for that one. The key was that it was actually a former Fab 5 athlete, Jake Sullivan, who attended Tartan High School from 1997 to 2000. Sullivan eventually went on to have a nice college career at Iowa State, but in high school, he made 703 out of 783 free throws for an 89.78 free throw percentage. That still stands as the highest career free throw percentage in Minnesota State boys basketball history. Now for today's question. We're going to switch it up a little bit and ask you a question about wrestling. And that question is, what is the lowest weight class in a Minnesota State High School League wrestling match? Again, that is, what is the lowest weight class in Minnesota State High School League wrestling match? To answer the question, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/TV19sports and be the first one to comment on our post about the question. Should be a fairly easy question if you know where to look. And now, after the trivia, we're going to get into girls basketball and start off with some standings, and we're also going to do some section previews as well. But like I said, we're going to start off with those standings. You see, it's been an interesting year in the Metro East for our Fab 5 girls basketball teams. And although it looks like Hastings is going to win the conference, a few schools are battling things out for second place. Hill Murray saw a nice run of games come to an end with a loss to Mahtomedi last week, and the Zephyrs have been a little inconsistent themselves as of late, losing to a Tartan team they beat earlier in the year by 14. Sophomore Emma Grouthouse continues to lead the way for Mahtomedi, averaging about 16 points a game. And for Tartan, things continue to improve under head coach Tim Ober. The young Titans are led by 8th grader Zaria Chevre and junior Zaria Whitlock. Now we'll jump over to the Suburban East, and you see the Lady Bears continue to roll at the top. They did survive a scare from Woodbury 53-50 last week. And the Bears got a bit of a wake-up call last night as they were down by Minnetonka. We're hoping White Bear Lake can bounce back and finish the conference season undefeated. Good luck, ladies, and a special shout-out to the White Bear captains who were nice enough to come and chat with us in the Sports Pass studio a few weeks ago. Now, even though there are a few more regular seasons left to play, we want to take a look at how the playoff picture might shape up come section time. And now here are rankings by section based on the QRF score at minnesotascores.com. And now the QRF is a special way of ranking high school teams. It is based off a special formula that takes into account the scores of games against each of your opponents. So with that, let's get into it. And you see, Mahtomedi's inconsistent play has them now sitting 5th in the Section 4 3A rankings. The Zephyrs find themselves actually behind Hill Murray, who are ranked 4th, even though the Pioneers are 0-4 versus section opponents, including 2 losses to that Mahtomedi Zephyrs squad. So it looks like Mahtomedi and Hill Murray will probably come in 4th and 5th in that Section 4 3A. But possibly with a few more wins, one of them could jump past De La Salle when it comes time to seed these teams. Now switching over to Section 4 4A in the big schools, you see White Bear Lake is almost a shoe-in to take that top seed come tournament time after defeating Roseville and remaining undefeated in the Suburban East, not to mention a win over Eastridge. But you see that Eastridge team is hot right now and on a 9-game winning streak since losing to White Bear Lake. It will all come down to what the coaches decide for seeding, but White Bear Lake more than likely will take that #1 spot. But you do see Eastridge right behind them, ranked 8th in state according to those QRF rankings. So that's the girls basketball. Now the boys basketball season is also wrapping up in the next week or two. We've had some exciting matchups that we covered here at TV19 Sports recently. Now let's take a look at the Metro East standings to start. So you see North St. Paul remains undefeated atop the conference. The Polars are 17-4 overall. They're on a 12-game winning streak after beating Simley last night. Tartan, of course, right behind North with their only loss coming to the Polars in the first game between these two a couple weeks ago. Now, we covered that game back on January 15th, and it was a heck of a contest that came down to the last few possessions. You can find that game as well as others at our on-location TV19 YouTube channel. Now, Tartan hosts the return matchup on the 16th, and you know we're going to be there for that one as well. The Titans whooped up on Hastings last Friday and they're on a 7-game winning streak of their own since losing to North. But let's not forget about Mahtomedi sitting in 3rd place. Parker Fox, a guard on this Zephyr squad, is an absolute beast, dropping around 22 points a game for the Zephyrs. So there is your standings. We have a few highlights, and this was the Mahtomedi Tartan game that we had a few nights ago, featuring a couple players there. You see Jordan Horn of Tartan. He's been on that varsity squad since about 8th grade, getting a lot of D1 looks. And then Parker Fox for Mahtomedi, 6'6" junior, as I said earlier, averages over 22 points a game, including a game-high 39 earlier in the season. So starting things off early, nice little give and go. And Jordan Horn, he doesn't miss them from there very often. He gets his first bucket on the night with an easy layup. Then on the other end, Parker Fox gets denied by Jarvis Thomas as he sends it the other way. Jovan Walker cleans up the miss, gets the foul and the basket. And he would make the free throw to make it a 7-0 Tartan lead. So a game that we thought was really going to be a close contest opened up for Tartan right at the start. As you see Jordan Horn hitting the 3, that makes it 10-0. Coach of the Zephyrs, Keith Newman, decides to take a timeout. He wants to talk a few things over and right the ship. And I think his talk worked right out of the break. Mahtomedi nails a 3-pointer. That's Lucas Buller, and it's 10-3. But a few moments later, Tartan responds as Marco Hernandez nails a 3-pointer of his own, and they regain that 10-point lead. Here's kind of the play of the first half. Parker Fox intercepting the pass, jumping in the passing lane, taking the other way, throwing it down, got the gym excited, got a little bit momentum back on the Zephyr side. You see Mahtomedi slowly closing that gap, 25-18. Shane Frost driving the lane, getting a bucket there, making it 25-20. Now at 27-20, Frost once again dishes it off, and for an easy layup, 27-22. And Jacob Martin, he hit that layup just a moment ago. He hits from 3, feeling the hot hand. So 27-25, Mahtomedi doing a great job fighting back in this one. And then with the closing
Fox
seconds
wide open from the corner
before
as the buzzer
halftime,
sounds.
Parker Fox finds himself open, hits the three-pointer, 29-28. So Mahtomedi, after trailing by 10 to start, closes it to 1 at the break. Parker Fox eager to get into that locker room, maybe pump up his team and get that win with the start of this, starting into the second half. And here we are starting in the second half. And Mahtomedi will take their first lead of the game as Parker Fox nails another three-pointer. So 31-29. But Mott was unable to hold that lead for very long as Noah Whalen gets open at the top of the key. He'll knock down the three-pointer. So Tartan back up on top, 32-31.
That's a big deal.
Now 33-31. You see why Jordan Horn's getting a lot of looks. That off-balance three-pointer, nothing but the bottom of the net. 36-31. Mott did make it a one-point game once again, but look at the step-back three-pointer from Noah Whalen. Love the arc there, and nothing but splash. That would make it 47-43 Tartan. They wouldn't look back from there. Tartan ends up taking this one 64-55. Have our scores a little bit mixed up there. Tartan does win it 64-55 to remain in second place in the Metro East. And now we're going to take a look at Suburban East boys basketball standings. White Bear Lake has had a tough year in boys basketball. They were able to notch their first conference victory a few weeks ago against Roseville. And we wish Coach Andy Lockwood and the Bears luck the rest of the way and look forward to more success coming next year. Now we're going to take a look at some section previews for boys basketball. Mahtomedi sits atop the rankings for section 4-3A. The Zephyrs are 4-1 against opponents in their section this year, with their only loss coming to Totino Grace all the way back in December, and that was a close one. So look for Mahtomedi to probably get that #1 seed when it comes time for section and hopefully jump into that state tournament after picking up that section championship. Now we'll take a look at section 4-4A. Now, unfortunately for North and Tartan, they face a much more difficult task in this section. And this is really shaping up to be one of the toughest sections in the state, where you see Woodbury and Cretin-Derham Hall both ranked in the top 10. Tartan is currently third in the section, even though their only loss was against North, who sits in fourth. North lost to top dog Woodbury by a considerable margin earlier this season. Now, if that Tartan-North rematch wasn't big enough in terms of deciding a Metro East Conference championship, it also looks like it has big implications for section seeding as well. Well, that wraps up our basketball coverage, but coming up on SportsBath, we have your Fab 5 hockey coverage. The boys are just finishing up their season, and the girls are already into section play. Stay tuned.
It's not just one person, it's a group, it's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Welcome back. We want to remind you that we're always looking for volunteers to run camera or work behind the scenes during our TV19 broadcast. To volunteer, contact Arlen Becker at 651-747-3821 or email him at arlen@onlocationtv.org. Great experience there. Welcome back to the studio. The boys hockey season is coming to an end, and a few of our Fab 5 teams look like they will make a good run in the postseason. On the girls' side, the regular season has concluded, and section play, well, that's well underway. Before we get into that, let's first revisit our trivia question for this week. Now, later in the show, we do have a segment on wrestling, so we decided it was fitting to ask a wrestling-related question. We want to know, what is the lowest weight class in a Minnesota State High School League wrestling match? Now, if you know anything about Minnesota high school wrestling, this should be an easy question for you. Remember, all you have to do is to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/TV19sports, and be the first one to comment on the post about the question. If you don't have Facebook or don't know how to do that, call up your grandkids. They'll know how it works. All right. After that, we'll get into the Metro East girls hockey standings. and that is after the regular season. We did say they're already into section play, and you see Hill Murray pretty much dominated things both in the Metro East and statewide this year. Pioneers finished the regular season undefeated and are already into the section championship. It seems as if anything but another state title this year will be a disappointment, and the only way they're going to lose a game this year basically is if they don't win a state title. And Hill Murray's been so good this year, they just had 2 players named to the 10 finalists for the Minnesota Miss Hockey Award. We want to congratulate Laura Anderson and Mackenzie Steffen for receiving that recognition. Now over to the Suburban East. And you see at the end of the regular season in the Suburban East, White Bear Lake finished the year in 3rd place with 22 points. The Bears had a nice season as they improved from 11 wins last year to 17 this season. And senior Sarah Moy led the way for the Bears with 22 goals and 19 assists. Now, although the Bears will be without Moy next season, Coach Jerry Kwapik has some exciting prospects for the future. You better believe it. All right, well, that was the standings. Now we'll take a look at some section previews, and this is Section 4A. Mahtomedi there, ranked number 2 in this section, got past Minnehaha United 5-1 in the first round. But in the second round, lost to South St. Paul 3-1. The Packers pulling the upset. So South St. Paul and St. Paul United will meet in that section championship with a spot in the state tournament on the line. And now here's our big section here. This is Section 4-2A. See Hill Murray, obviously they breezed through the regular season to earn that top spot. The Pioneers easily won their first 2 games of the postseason by a combined 17-2. Now, Hill Murray is going to face Mounds View in the section championship. As you see, Mounds View took out both North Tartan and pulled the upset over White Bear Lake to reach the championship game. However, with the Pioneers having such a good season, this one seems more of just a formality than a contest, but you never know. Good luck to the Pioneers on their quest for a three-peat. So that is how the girls section play is looking thus far. On the boys' side, our Fab 5 schools are looking to do some damage in the postseason. The only problem being is that they may have to face each other in the process. You see the Metro East conference standings with still some time to play. Hill Murray remains atop the Metro East, even though they dropped their first conference game of the season to St. Thomas Academy 1-0 on Saturday. Pioneers are 9-1-1 in conference, 2 points clear of the Cadets. Mahtomedi is really picking up steam at the right time of year. The Zephyrs, now ranked 4th in Single A, have recently come away with ties against AA powers Hill Murray and St. Thomas Academy. Mahtomedi also tied Breck 4-4 last night, and Breck is ranked 2 in Class A. Zephyrs' Andrew Kangas leads the Metro East in assists, while goaltender Will Swanson leads the conference in wins. Mahtomedi concludes their conference season against Simley tomorrow night. And over to the Suburban East, White Bear Lake plans to be right in the thick of things come playoff times. You know, the Bears are currently sitting in 2nd in the Suburban East, even after losing 5 of their last 7. Stillwater has secured the conference title already, and the only thing standing in their way of an undefeated conference season is their matchup against White Bear Lake tomorrow. We wish the Bears luck and hope they can take down Stillwater and preview things to come in section play. And Mahtomedi is tops in Section 4A by a very narrow margin and probable 2-seed St. Paul Academy. Mahtomedi is ranked 4th in Class A in the most recent standings, while SPA is 5th as you take a look there, with just 1 state tournament up for grabs. If these 2 teams, tournament appearance up for grabs, with these 2 teams meet in the section final, it should be a great matchup. Mahtomedi not only defeated St. Paul Academy earlier this year, but topped them in the section championship last season as well. So these 2 teams have a nice history. Our Fab 5 schools will be well represented again in Section 4-2A this year. Stillwater is going to be the powerhouse in the section as they jumped up the rankings, are currently number 2 team in state for Class 2A, behind only Benilde St. Margaret. Hill Murray will most likely be the 2nd seed. And the real surprise is Tartan, who is now making a push for 3rd place in the section over White Bear Lake. We'll know how things shape up in about a week or so, but it's safe to say 3 of the 4 top teams in this section will be Fab 5 representative. Well done, everybody. And that about does it for our Fab 5 hockey coverage. Coming up for the rest of the show, we take a look at a sport that we haven't covered too often, and that's wrestling. Star wrestler from North recently etched his name into the record books, and you don't want to miss what that means.
Sorry.
Get on top of it before they do. Every 24 minutes, tipped furniture or a falling TV sends an injured child to the emergency room. Preventing tip-over incidents is easy, inexpensive, and only takes 5 minutes. Learn how to secure your furniture and TVs to protect children at anchorit.gov.
Folks, we want to remind you to like us and follow us on social media. We're always posting links to games we cover, and you don't want to miss any of them. Like our TV19 Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at TV19 Sports. Well, welcome back to the Sports Path desk. And we're going to revisit our trivia question real quick before we get into anything else. And that trivia question, of course, is what is the lowest weight class in a Minnesota State High School League wrestling match? We're going to get into a bit of a wrestling segment, so we thought that would be a fitting question. Here on TV19 Sports, we do cover a variety of winter sports, and it mostly focuses on basketball and hockey, but today we are going to bring you some highlights of wrestling. And I believe we're going to have those highlights. Yes, we do. There they are. That's a look at the North wrestler in question that we're going to feature. That is Louis Varland. And he is getting ready to go up against his match against St. Thomas Academy. To start off, Louis does have the upper hand. And they eventually get work to the outside where they go out of bounds and have to reset in the middle. But you see, shortly after the reset, they once again work their way to the outside. The St. Thomas wrestler circles his way around Louis to get to the other side, but Louis finds the right time for the takedown, grabbing his leg, and he gets 2 points for that takedown. Now, we'll get kind of into how this works. So high school wrestling, they have 3 periods, and it's sort of a cumulative score. If you don't get a pinfall, it's a cumulative score. You get points for takedowns, you get points for reversals. Now, you can win with a pinfall, but if there is no pinfall, it's the total score after those 3 periods. And that is the winning wrestler. You see, Varland, though, does get the pin. He secures what is 6 points for his team. And you see North would come out on top of St. Thomas Academy 34-31 through all of their weight classes. And throughout the week, the North wrestlers were spreading the word to pack the gym for that Thursday quadrangular. It was their official Pack the Gym night for the wrestling squad. A lot of people ended up showing up for the wrestling matches, which made it that much more fun for those wrestlers. One North wrestler, Louis Varland, who we just showed, tweeted after the match last Thursday, "Thanks for everyone coming out tonight. Fist bump emoji. Nothing like competing in front of a crowd." Gotta love that. Along with facing off against St. Thomas Academy, North also faced Cannon Falls and St. Paul Harding in the quadrangular. They ended up doing very well, sweeping the meet. North Activity's Twitter account tweeted the results along with a photo congratulating their team. There are the results. And then you take a look at the photo there. That's the North Wrestling Squad. They're all holding up a 3, symbolizing the victory over the 3 other teams in the quadrangular. So good stuff there. And we spoke to Louis. We got to speak to Louis' head coach after the match, and he also spoke about Louis' success and thinks he can do quite well in state. Louis did recently record his 114th victory for North, breaking the school record for career wins. And we spoke with Louis after the match, and we found out how he originally got into wrestling.
I've been wrestling since 1st grade, so this will be my 12th season wrestling. I had a dad that wrestled for North, actually, and also Brock Lesnar. He's a UFC fighter. He's also a WWE star. He was my idol back in the day, 1st grade. 6th grade, I wrestled for the middle school. I was pretty good at it, and then I got called up to high school, and it just took off there. I love the coaches, I love the teammates. The atmosphere is great.
Wrestling from a very young age, Louis has had a great career at North. This year, he's been ranked in the top 10 in his weight class for most of the season. He walked us through one of his best wins this year, earlier in the season.
It was a weekend before Christmas break. It's Chisado. I got ranked second behind a kid who was undefeated. He thought he was top dog, but I saw him in the championship match and took him out and beat him 8-2. Every ranked match is a big match for me because I mean, if I beat them, I take their spot in the ranking most likely. So they're big matches, and it means a lot.
The only losses that Louis has had this season comes from other ranked wrestlers. So overall, he has had an outstanding year.
So far, it's been going good. I had some disappointing matches where I should have won, but I didn't come up top. But for the most part, I've been doing well. I wrestled Justin Berg at 170. I faced him 2 times early in the season. He beat me both, but this time he got escaped in the second period. Third period, I got an escape, so it was tied 1-1. In the last 30 seconds, I took a shot. I tried to hit the Kelly. We both stood up. I picked him up in the air. I had him up in the air. I almost had the takedown too, but he bear hugged me to take me down for the 3 points. So it came down to the last final seconds.
Despite a handful of losses on the season, Louis recently broke the school record for most career wins. The record was previously 114 wins, but Louis has around 119 and still counting. That includes his sophomore season where he was injured. We asked Louis what breaking the school record means to him.
It means a lot. I mean, ever since 7th grade, I had it in mind, and my dad's always been in my corner telling me like the school record's right there. I got hurt sophomore year, so it's kind of a little setback. I would have really beat the record if I didn't get hurt my sophomore year. Well, I'm glad I still got it accomplished.
Louis' freshman year of high school, he made it to the state tournament. His sophomore, he suffered an injury which prevented him from competing most of the wrestling season. His junior year, he made it once again, and this year, he has no doubts that he will be competing again at the state tournament level.
This year for the state tournament, I expect to make it there for sure. I would like to win a couple matches, maybe place.
All right, and as I tried to say earlier, we spoke to Louis' coach off camera, and he also has real high hopes of Louis placing in the state tournament this year. Believe it or not, wrestling wasn't the only high school sport that Louis has competed in. He also played both baseball and football while at North, and in fact, he was on the football team this year that made a decent run to the state tournament. Louis' favorite sport is baseball, and on November 11th of last year, he committed to Concordia University St. Paul to play baseball with his brother. Congratulations, Louis, on a great 4 years at North, and good luck with your future at Concordia. All right, now we're going to talk about a few upcoming broadcasts we have here on TV19 Sports. You see a lot of Tartan versus North. Now that game tomorrow, Tartan versus North, should be good for hockey. As you saw, Tartan trying to creep into 3rd place of those Metro East standings, into that section of Section 4A. And then on the 16th, that's the one you really want to circle. February 16th, boys basketball, Tartan versus North. This is a rematch of the game we did a few weeks ago where North ended up edging Tartan in what was a really close game. Tartan is going to be hosting this one, so it should be really exciting action. Then you also see coming up, boys hockey is yet to start the sections, but we have a lot of schools and teams that are going to be all mixed up in that. And so we'll have a lot of that coverage. You see on the 23rd, we're hoping to do a game that is the semifinals of 4-2A. On the 24th, another semifinal of 4-2A. And somehow a 3rd semifinal for 4-2A. I believe one of those may be a 4A semifinal, or possibly the finals, I believe, of 4A is on the 26th. So it will be, yes, it will be the finals there on February 26th. We hope to see the likes of Hillmurray, White Bear Lake involved in that one, and then Mahtomedi on the A side. And then we're going to tell you about the next Sports Path. That, of course, is live every other Wednesday, and that will be live on February 24th at 7 p.m. as we always do. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching. This was a great show. I hope you enjoy it. And we'll catch you next time.
Off the pass, goes the other way and throws it down. One of the players to watch, really the standout player for the Zephyr squad. But he'll stay on the bench. He's a big kid. Someone that, kind of size comparison to Joe Von Walker, so they're going to want him in. Lucas Buller steps back 3, and it's good!